So it's been about a month since I've deactivated my Facebook page, haven't deleted it yet, and I've talked in other videos how I believe that there is a personal benefit in abstaining from something, especially if you've done it already for 10 years and you've tried to use it, for example, to promote certain ideas or videos, and you've dealt with the shadow banning. That's one example. That's one reason why someone may want to take their business, their time, their energy somewhere else. I've also noticed just a general cognitive decline in people, some people, but not all, some people that overuse the medium, and I've even seen it, play up and increase certain levels of anxieties and stresses within myself. And then studying Facebook for what it is and how it's altered society and replaced relationships. Well, when those relationships with people on social media are tinkered with and were turned against each other over a lot of the manufactured information that's out there, disinformation, then it can be a perfect tool to destroy movements. Instead of Facebook be a place where the movement is, Facebook, in fact, has done a lot to dismantle people working together. And so, so my theories are still in the working stage, but I'm going to take this time to give you some news and information regarding Facebook because it is a topic that's not going away. So first, we'll go over the headlines as they are, and then we'll come back, share some more information. One is, Facebook Portal is the last device that you'd want looking at you. That's from Forbes. Something obviously leaning towards the big brother. There's obviously there's a Facebook cloning hoax. Time Magazine, worried that your Facebook account has been cloned? Here's what to know about this new hoax. Here we have another headline. After the Facebook hack, we'll talk about that. What should you do to protect yourself? So apparently there was a hack that affected like 50 million people. And here's another one. Want to delete your Facebook account? It'll take 30 days. So we'll go ahead and start there from USA Today. Facebook has given users many reasons to consider nuking their accounts lately, from data breaches to scandals surrounding election interference. Now the app, known for keeping people connected, is increasing the amount of time it takes for main profiles to be permanently deleted. It was back in 2012 that they admitted that they toyed with the feeds of their users in order to manipulate their emotions. And so there's a number of things that they already admitted that they were doing before this last election. So there's more reasons than that to abstain from using Facebook. You see, a lot of people, though, they get addicted to it. And this is the speculative side of myself, but there are ways in which I think that they can alter the way that your Facebook page looks in order to affect your emotions through color, through manipulating the screen itself. I think that there are paranormal overtones to social media. If you take a book, I'm going to read a passage in another video from Fortune Dion's Psychic Self-Defense. It was written in 1930. Now, we'll take a look at some of the literature that this author wrote, right? And about the telepathic communication between human beings. Now, when you add the internet over that, and you add things like Facebook, and it's really like a combination of factors, like when someone mixes their Facebook with their smartphone, and they got their Facebook with them all the time, well, that's like speedballing it. And it's not that everybody that's using this technology is experiencing the cognitive decline, but some are. The increased ADHD, increased irritability, a lot of people that are, in some cases, on the same side, being divided on whether or not they believe such and such is real or not. Divide over politics, whether or not someone likes the president. There's a lot of things, because I was on Facebook 10 years. And so I know, I can't really say that there was ever really a golden years with regards to either my own life, to be completely honest, or Facebook. But there were times that were different. And we can recall times that were different, when maybe we experience more openness, or maybe we experience more community, or maybe we experience more reach. And there seems to be a social engineering element to the way that Facebook really works that a lot of people aren't aware of. So we're going to come back to that book in another video. So let's go to the next headline about this data breach. When someone successfully hacks into Facebook, it generates instant and worldwide news coverage. Facebook is much larger than any single country on Earth, and it's become so much a part of our daily lives that any breach sends shockwaves throughout the social media community. A couple of weeks ago, more than 50 million Facebook users' accounts were hacked, attacking vulnerabilities in a feature called the View As function, which lets you see what your Facebook profile looks like to others. An additional 40 million users who had used the View As function were also at risk. While every security analyst, columnist, and anybody with an opinion has suggested that you reset your password, tech site CNET suggests that such advice is useless in this case because the thieves didn't steal passwords. Instead, they hacked access tokens, a sort of digital key that allows you to keep logged into your profile so you can avoid using a password. Most people have zero control over this small but significant piece of code. By all accounts, Facebook acted pretty quickly to control the damage, quickly resetting keys for the affected accounts once the breach was discovered. The suggestion plays off our natural desire to do something after such a massive breach, says notes NG in the article. It's sobering to think that there is really little you can do to keep yourself from becoming a victim if a crook who really wants your information, or if a crook really wants your information. But having a good, solid security plan can help make you a less tempting target. Not a lot of good information in that article, so what could be said about that? And again, I jumped ship from Facebook before that took place. And there's a number of different times in which I've had a hunch. I mean, there's a number of different examples. I remember when I was briefly doing a show on Republic Broadcasting Network of all places, when I was just starting out in online radio after starting out on cable access TV. And that was when I was putting a lot more effort into those things before the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel really didn't see a whole lot of activity until about 2009 or so, even though it was started in 2006. I also think it's interesting that my interest in alternative media started right as YouTube was starting, and just a little bit before. And cable access, allowed some decent experiences in a studio before I went off the grid, and I'm doing all this using solar on 1 acre in Colorado. But some of the other articles we're going to look at. Facebook Portal is the last device that you'd want looking at you. And then, of course, Facebook accounts being cloned. Let's go ahead and look at that real quick. Facebook users are being duped into thinking that their accounts have been cloned thanks to a viral message that made the rounds of the social networking site on Sunday. There's things that are playing on people's fears. The message says that the sender has received a duplicate friend request from the recipient. Then it tells the receiver to forward the same message to their friends. Many have apparently taken that to mean that they should also forward the same message to all their friends, prompting dozens or even hundreds of others to believe that there may be a problem with their accounts as well. So now let's go ahead and see what this Facebook Portal thing is. But before we do that, I want to finish a point. So, the Republic Broadcasting Network story. That's right. So John Stott Miller and Alex Jones had some sort of a beef, and he went off on Alex Jones, and it would be in the week prior to that this sense of negativity around his website, and really both of them. But at that time, John Stott Miller was making a very unpopular move, what he was doing. And so, and there were ways in which his employers or employees at the time, the people working for him, tried to get one over on him by taking his website. So there's this whole drama that took place. That's an example of a time where I got out before things got crazy. It would just happen to be a coincidence. It's like I had a hunch. And I don't celebrate when I see news about 50 million having their data taken, and let's start asking the questions, what kind of data is being taken? It's sad to see this because this validates my concern. So somebody could be really defensive politically and be like, oh no, all this is political, and they say election interference. Well, that's the turn of the punchbowl. There's more reasons than that and the excuse they're given to be skeptical of what Facebook's been doing with our data. It's bipartisan and it's global. What more do you need to know? They've made it really easy for people to think that they're winning and stuff on Facebook, where I was suspicious of the whole thing the whole time. Well, being on Facebook and talking about it and talking about the dark side of social media, replacing our real relationships in the meetups. Hell, you can find a video of me talking about that off the grid while in Costilla County in the year, it was actually late 2012. Well, basically living in a year, most people would say in squalor with nothing. But to me, it was my own rite of passage that I was prescribing myself after 1 year of living just outside of downtown Dallas, Texas, after a number of years of living in Portland, Oregon. And so I had already begun to develop a little bit of experience, life experience, leaving the grid, going off the grid, and using Facebook in some ways as a networking tool. Finding other like minds. I was telling somebody recently, a few years ago, I could use Facebook and travel and meet people of like minds. But it wasn't until the last few years of this division on a deep, deep level, which really divided the people and turned them against each other instead of being consistently on the system. We have people believing in this illusion change we can believe in to make America great again, just like the last presidential change for good hoax that we experienced. We've already been through this hoax. We already know what this is like. You ain't going to get your money back. All sales are final. And so it isn't accidental, and they've done their part to dismantle communities. And then getting back to, my own experience on Facebook, not only do we experience the shadow banning, a person like myself will literally see Facebook showing me posts that are irrelevant from people that I do not engage with. People whose content that I do not follow. Someone could be talking about something X, Y, or Z, and it will be showing me their post over and over and over in like an algorithm that's more of a practical joke than something that's like legitimate, and it's illegitimate. The things that Zuckerberg is saying and the way that he's portrayed, right? He may have made some statements that make him seem like a leftist, the people that are on the right. But the real Zuckerberg, the real owners of YouTube, controllers of YouTube, if you will. Same thing goes for Twitter. When you look at the things that have actually ended up trending over a period of time, and you learn to recognize what those things are, and you can be the observer and be outside the left, right, but just see it for what it is, it's a different picture than what they're presenting as they act like they're victims. And again, this whole discussion about election interference, the bombardment of propaganda and various memes that we saw on Facebook happened at light speed. In some cases, some states heavier than others. But they didn't do it, or the Russians didn't do it, without the help of those within Facebook. Facebook was already embedded in with our own intelligence agencies. It would just defy logic. You don't have to be a brainiac here or a WikiLeaks type of a character to come up with the knowledge and basic information that they did not do this alone. If anything, they got the blueprint of how to do it really well. They're probably all working together. How about them apples, oranges, bananas, or whatever the hell you want to call this? Because I do think that they're all working together. And that's the thing that people are missing. All right, so let's continue. And don't worry, class will be dismissed. Even though it's Monday, go ahead and act like it's Friday and do all those things you're not supposed to. By the way, I'm trying to keep my mood up. We are descending quickly into fall, kind of a relaxed mood today, getting ready for winter. I want to thank you to those of you that do support on Patreon. We do need to increase things a little bit. Go over to patreon.com/AlexAnswery. Follow the links down below. Thank you for your support. So I don't have to get some additional propane, get ready for winter, get some additional food, get ready for periods in which the car won't be able to leave the property. Also get some gasoline for the generator. I'll be coming to you on a more regular basis. And we need to continue to go outside the box. If we come to some sort of an awareness that there's disinformation on one level, we need to make sure that we know what our truth is and not be stuck in a state of mind that we need to be looking for someone else to be our new talk show guru. Right now, I'm actually, I'm looking, folks. If you want to apply to be my talk show guru, I'm just kidding. There's actually nobody that I really listen to on a regular basis. You know, I find a few interesting channels here and there that I might let you know about. YouTube, of course, is recommending that there are other channels that are just like mine, but when you actually watch their channels and hear their content, you find very little in common between us. Expect that maybe we covered some of the same subject matter at one point, but ultimately we're very, very different people. But the box tends to put us, you know, in this box of conspiracy theory. Even if some of our ideas are beyond that, it's kind of what happens once you begin to go down a particular road, right, and focus on a number of topics relating to things like that, even if they're valid and important. And you talk about other things like off-grid living and spirituality or relationships or other things, the nature of the beast, no pun intended, is that the conspiracy theorists are magnified, or that content is magnified in the eye of the person, the eyes of the people that have been conditioned by the mainstream media and culture. They're programmed to discriminate against our information if it seems like it's kooky in nature. Again, you know, having that memory of that lady at the Wells Fargo in town responding to me giving her the website solarmaxnews.com. Oh, that sounds kooky. There's actually a lot of science behind the activity of the sun. Not everybody agrees on how the sun is affecting our world, contributing to our world, connected to our world, but it definitely is a very interesting subject. Okay, let's cover a little bit more information before we finish. So Facebook portal, what is this? Okay, so this is from Forbes, and I'm just going to read it as it's written. On the heels of a massive Facebook security breach, either Facebook thinks we're all a bunch of morons ready to give more of our blood to the tech giant, or we actually are a bunch of morons. Engage in active data bloodletting at Facebook's doorstep because Facebook has announced its Portal video device to continue the bleeding, but through video. The Facebook Portal and Portal Plus are seemingly direct competitive devices to the Amazon Echo Show. The difference being is that Facebook devices are designed with video chatting in mind rather than shopping. However, Facebook will surely find a way to work in advertisements, or at least use conversations for ad serving, though that's a unsubstantiated observation. The difference between Portal and Portal Plus appears to be a 10-screen 720p screen versus a 15.6-inch 1080p screen. Oh, by the way, the cat knocked my computer down earlier and the screen is cracked. So I'm going to have to make sure that I get a backup at some point and secure things that are important. But it's not so cracked that I can't see it, but it's cracked. Privacy concerns with a device like this, even though there are features built into the Portal and the Portal Plus that work to alleviate some of those concerns. There are no video recording features built into the Portal, but thanks to a Amazon Alexa integration, is always listening for initiating calls, which means Facebook gets voice data. There is a camera cover that has a button that turns off the mic and camera, cutting the circuit to prevent hacking attacks. So that's all the information that we have on that. You know, something to say with regards to that. There's been a lot of different times in which people have texted when I was on Facebook, and it was trying to instantly invite me to Messenger, or someone might think, hey, well, they're on Facebook. Maybe they're up for me just calling them. Maybe they're just sitting there with the headset going, Alex Ansary here on Facebook, the Facebook avatar, Alex Ansary, go ahead. It's like, what are you thinking? No, don't call me on Facebook. There's just the whole 10 years on Facebook has been quite the ride. I'm still detoxing from it. Like I said, I'm about at a month. It can be compared to its psychological effect. It can be compared to something like smoking and drinking. And even though, you know, you're not smoking and drinking and it's not a chemical, it's the way the brain is impacted, and it's what it's doing to others that I don't want to see it do to me, and what it already did do to me for a little bit. When Facebook becomes your predominant way of communicating with others, that's not necessarily a good thing. if it's just kind of like a circular echo chamber. And when Facebook is getting involved in your relationships and messing with your feeds, then it's almost like trying to influence, relationships and go look over here. Maybe you're interested in this person's post. Oh, forget about your friend Sally. And yeah, even though you and Sally talk to each other back and forth, you're not going to see what Sally's posting anymore. But this weirdo over here named Jack, yeah, these voices in his head that are coming out that he's sharing in his post, that's for you, honey. And so there's ways in which technology, the robot, can step in and be influencing bad relationships, be promoting bad content. And ultimately, we're seeing what the machine, I don't know if the right terminology is capable of. Better terminology, what the machine is being used for. The machine is capable of better. But when you see YouTube auto-suggest particular things, does it auto-suggest that you check out my solar flare activity, for example? How many videos have I done on solar flares? Over 50. If we talk about MGTOW, we're probably like under 7. There shouldn't be like an attempt to push that, though. That's actually like a very small sliver of my content. But yet the bulk consolidation of the views may be on videos regarding relationships, although that may be seen as more relevant to certain people. It's not what I'm limited to. If anything, we should be freeing ourselves from expecting things from others. And it's a process. For me, it has been really good to have Facebook around for a number of years, to be able to communicate for people, especially off the grid. There's been some lonely moments. There's been periods in which I've cut the internet for a number of months, and it was great to come back on Facebook and have a like party. But after a while, it's no longer fun. And even if that sense of dopamine rush and socialization is removed, it doesn't mean that something pops up in the so-called real world. We actually may be left with nothing at all. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. Well, that is the factual reality of it, but how I'm feeling about it now is better and more balanced than I did in the past. I work to let go of my expectations. That my work or information or ideas would be accepted or by a community. There's been a lot of disappointment and heartbreak in the last few years of living here. There's been a sense of victory of finding a place where I can rest, and then a sense of, oh, wow, I really did go to a really isolated part of the country. And so now, I want to be, I'm not in a situation where I can financially travel, but I want to be as happy as I can, as focused as I can, and moving forward as I can with these ideas, with these videos, with podcasts, with posts to my website while I am here, not only here in the body, but here in this physical location. There's a time and a place to do something. Facebook can be a really big time sucker. And not only that, it does manipulate people's emotions. There are certain people that, are so deep into the Facebook reality that they think that that's where they're going to have the connection with Alex Ansary, or that's where they're going to get to know Alex Ansary. And ultimately, Facebook does a lot, even on its own, to promote not our best side or not our best posts. And I think that, again, the technology, even the vibrational frequency, like it literally could be vibrating at a fight or flight, super stressed anxiety level, to where that's coming out, to where people are thinking that it's normal, not only for Facebook to replace our relationships or for difficult things to be worked out. And they may not even realize that difficult vibe that they're feeling, right, is really that surveillance of both those people in that Facebook private message. Really, the description of the humans on Facebook and not even really knowing what they're dealing with is comparable to the types of experiments that rats are put under. And we'll leave it at that. I want to thank you for watching. Use discretion in your online activities. And check out the links down below. Support the channel if you can. I'm Alex Ansary, reminding you the path to the ultimate truth and place of power still lies within.